Good evening and welcome, everybody. I am DJ Michael Joseph, and you have tuned in to the Music and Mixing Show. We do this show each and every week. It is basically based around the mixed DJ, and we talk about stuff in the DJ world when it comes to being a mixed DJ and mixing techniques and music and everything like that. But tonight, I have no idea what the show is going to be about because nothing new has happened in the DJ world in the past week. Nothing. So we'll talk about what's going on there. So if you've never seen the show before, one of the things we do is we start out the top of the hour, let some people come into the chat room, which I need to open up the chat room here in a second, so hold on. It's in the way. There we go. And we say hello to some people in the chat room, and then we go into the show, and we can take questions. We can do all kinds of stuff. A lot of good information tonight, obviously, and I'm going to say this probably about 20 times. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Rane One. But we kind of just want to let everybody come in. Like I said, I want to make sure I get everybody in here, see who's watching where, comments, chimes. If you're in the chat, we are on Facebook and YouTube both tonight, so hopefully I can pick up questions from everybody. So definitely say hello in the chat to make sure you're there. If you're from somewhere, Paul is laughing. Okay. Probably laughing at me saying there's nothing to talk about. But definitely if you're from somewhere like other than like from where I'm at here in the eastern United States, say so, and I'll give a shout out to who you are and where you're from. But like I said, I got all the press kit because when I prior to the Rane One coming out, I got all the press equipment, all the press kit. So I got all the pictures and all that kind of stuff. So we can talk about that tonight and show that. And kind of see what you guys want to talk about, close-up pictures, answer questions. I literally have the user guide that came along with the press kit was the actual user guide. So all of that's in here. If you guys want to look at anything, we'll definitely talk about that. But like I said, if you're in the chat, say hello so I know where you're coming from. I'd like to also hear someone on Facebook just to make sure that I'm receiving the chat from both of them. It says I'm getting all five. So DJ C. Cruz from Queens, New York, what's going on? We got Detroit, Michigan in the house. It only says Facebook user here, so I can't quite tell who that was, so I apologize. I'm trying to get the chat all working across here so I can see everybody. There we go. That's a little bit better. Detroit, Michigan. DJ Eddie D checking out from Garfield, New Jersey. Disco Worm is drooling over the Rane One. Aren't we all? From the first time I got, like I said, I got the pictures and stuff early. Wasn't allowed to talk about it. I was like, ooh. And I'm still, the title of the show tonight is Should I Buy a New DJ Equipment? Because we're going to talk about, in this specific weird place that we all are in this pandemic thing. I said that word. We're not allowed to say that word. We're probably going to get demonetized for saying that word. Anyways, for this thing that's going on, whether it's the right time to buy new equipment or not. Paul says, was the leak intentional? I can't say if it was or wasn't because I have not gotten any kind of confirmation that it was intentional or not intentional. From the people that I was seeing the pictures at and where they're at, I do not think it was or I do not think all of it was intentional. Some of it I do believe was some dude just showing stuff off. So, Facebook user said, all good in the hood. Sorry about that. I don't have that. DJ Superfly, Ivan, what's going on? Thank you. Him and I were sharing pictures back and forth. And like I said, it was kind of neat because he gets info on a lot of stuff really good. And I appreciate all the stuff that he shares. But like I said, I was able to get the press kit, which I have tonight, so we can show everything from there. If you have any questions, we'll talk about it. Happy New Year to you, Disco Worm. And hey, I'm just doing this as a PSA. It is January 13th. Turn off your Christmas lights. I know that may sound like bah humbug, but oh my gosh, driving around, I had to go to the grocery store last night, and I'm like, why are these people still have their Christmas lights on? It's January 13th. Anyway, sorry about that. So, again, welcome to everybody in the chat. And like I said, I know we have some people on Facebook jumping on and off. I think some of the Facebook people who join in think that this is going to be an actual mixing show where I'm mixing music. But this is the education side of stuff I do over on Disc Jockey News. I do videos all the time. If you don't know, with the Rane controller that just came out, I did a video on it. I was blessed to get the press kit ahead of time, so I was able to have the video and have it so that it, because we were embargoed till 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So as soon as 10 a.m. hit, YouTube, my YouTube channel, or Disc Jockey News YouTube channel let it out. So that's where we're at right now. Anybody else in the chat want to say hello wherever you're from? Kind of because it was a happy time. Yeah, it was. For those, again, this shows a lot about the mix DJ, and for those of us who not only just mix for our job, that's the primary part of our job is mixing, but who also just love to mix. This Rane was something that I think a lot of us felt that was missing in the gap of all the DJ stuff. There are other motorized equipment out there. First and foremost, there is the NS7, which is probably the closest to this. It's older. It's crazy heavy. It's like 31 or 32 pounds. I used to own one. I absolutely love it, but it was just a lot to carry around because when I'm DJing clubs and bars, sometimes I'm doing 2 a night. So I'm coming in, setting up, doing my thing. Someone else is taking over. I'm leaving, going somewhere else, and then being the headliner at the other place. So it's a lot of pick up and move and go. So having something crazy heavy just doesn't benefit me. But the new Rane One sets in at 22.5 pounds. So that's nice. That's less than 10 pounds because the current one I use, all of you who follow me know that I use the Denon MC7000, and it weighs 15 pounds. So the new one's lighter. We'll look at pictures. We'll talk about stuff. Like I said, for those who just joined us, I literally, in the press kit, they literally gave me the user's guide and everything. So if you have any questions with any of that, we can go look through that. Eddie Acosta said yesterday was his birthday, and that's when he finally shut off his lights. So happy birthday to Eddie. But the Rane, like I said, for those of us who like to mix and having the motorized platters and having kind of the Rane layout and technology and those effects paddles that I love so much that are on the S9, S11, and the Rane 72, MK1 and 2, that's nice. Like I said, other than motorized platters, Denon has motorized platters. What's the one? Tractor has one with motorized platters. This Pioneer has one with motorized platters, doesn't it? Gosh, I can't even remember what Pioneer has. They have so many. I'm sure with all the other stuff they have, I know they have some sort of motorized platters, and I'm guessing that they're probably going to come out with one too. I'm being 100% honest to you. At this point right now, I do not have any inside information on motorized platters with Pioneer, so I don't have that. I'm not saying that they won't come out with one. I'm saying right now at this point, I don't have any information on motorized platters and Pioneer. They were due to come out with 2 or 3 things last year that were not released last year, which really surprised me. So they're going to be soon. And with Namm, the digital Namm being next week, it will be probably some of the stuff they're going to release then. And again, I encourage you, Namm is online this year, and they're actually doing like this Namm TV. So it's a lot of stuff. And keep in mind, a lot of stuff is going to be about the music world because Namm's a lot about musical instruments and all kinds of stuff like that. But you can... Ivan says they don't have a motorized platter. They don't have one at all? I swore they had one like years ago. Like when Denon came out with that 3900 that it had that was that. Anyways, where was I at? Talking about... I don't even know what I was talking about. Pioneer. Oh, next week, Namm. If you want a chance to get on some of that, all you have to do is go to the Namm webpage, and you can sign up. It's free to sign up for their virtual expo that they have, and there's a lot of stuff that you get to see from the inside. So that's something you need to go and look at. Like sign up. It doesn't cost to sign up for it, but you can tune in next week and see all the stuff that's going on there, and that's what I kind of want to encourage you to go and do. I signed up today, so next week I'll be able to tune in and see all the stuff that they're showing at Namm and maybe some of the specialty stuff like that. Still watching the chat tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I don't know where everybody's tuned in at. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Rane One, and we're going to talk about buying equipment because I thought, with me in this dilemma right now, whether to purchase this or not, in the situation that we're all kind of in right now, I thought it would be a good night to talk about that. So we can start out by, I'm going to talk about purchasing, and while I'm doing that, you can drop some of your questions in the chat. If you're watching this on demand later on, you obviously can't drop the questions in, so let's just hope everyone in the chat asks good questions tonight. But while I'm kind of talking about the purchasing of something right now, drop your questions in there. And like I said, we'll go look through all of the information that I have on the Rane One, all the pictures, all the stuff. But what brought me to the idea of should I purchase new equipment? Because technically right now, a lot of us, especially for me as a bar and club DJ, I have nothing. I literally have not been paid to DJ since the week before St. Patrick's Day 2020. So it's coming up on a year without DJing being paid. So what I have in my world, as opposed to someone who does like weddings and parties, some of you have had some ones trickle in, trickle out, that sort of thing. So, but right now, is this a good time to be purchasing something when, number one, I'm not even making any money? So there's no income coming whatsoever. Now, I do have several pieces of DJ equipment. I won some stuff last year from an online thing, plus some of the stuff I have sitting around, and I probably can get darn close to the price that I pay because I get a different price. I'm not going to talk about that. I get a different price, but it'll give me close to the price of the Rane One, and I'm really thinking about it, but I also have to think, do I really need it right now in the midst of not making any money? Because let's say this whole thing that we're in continues, I'm going to be needing to live off of my savings, that stuff that I put back for DJ stuff like this. So it's kind of like an odd thing to be in, where you really want something. It's a product that you like a lot about it, you know you're going to use it, because like I said, when I'm in a normal week for me, I'm DJing at least 3 nights a week, at least Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every week. So it's something that will 100% get put to use. I can't even talk. Get put to use and make money with it too. So it's not just a toy. It's also will be a partial business write-off and stuff like that. So it's the point, and I think a lot of us are in that point, not just necessarily with this DJ controller, but other equipment. Maybe right before all this happened, you intended on getting a whole new lighting system or speakers or whatever, and you just kind of have to put yourself on hold right now. And that's what, like I said, I want to address that too. I want to address your questions about the Rane One, but like I said, I just thought it was kind of neat to think about a product release of something that, to those of us who mix, is really important. To us, this is great. We really like this. I mean, I know people who have no intentions on buying it that still love it. They think it's great. But where do you draw that line of making that step forward to have something so when you go back to work, you have a nice, fresh piece of equipment? I was telling John and Dan on Monday night, because I sit in on the Monday night chat sometimes, and I said in the bar and club business, different things you do, it's sometimes about one-upmanship. So if I come into a place and DJ with a motorized controller, that kind of gives me one up on some of the other guys, and they're going to look at that. And again, it's all ego. It doesn't matter to anything but just kind of a thing. And we do kind of have to do that one-upmanship, staying with good equipment, all that kind of stuff, making it look professional. That's why I have mine with the decals on it. All that kind of stuff. So, I've had my current 7000 for 4 years now. It's been out for 4 years. So it's time to step up to the next one. I think I made a good step up last year when I put the decal from 12-inch skins on there. And 100% with the new, if I get the new Rane One, I'll be putting, whenever they 12-inch skins puts out something on that. And I'm sure at some point somebody's going to put custom platters out too, custom color discs and different things. And that's definitely the direction I want to go with that too. But it's just one of those things you have to decide, am I going to make that step now or am I going to wait? Because it's a tough decision because you'll want it, but you kind of have to hold. So I'm going to read some questions in the chat, see we got on there, and then we'll look at some stuff from the Rane side. I'm looking here. Ivan's coming in. Ivan has those of you who don't know, he's DJ Superfly. He helps us out with stuff in Disc Jockey News. He spoke in Vegas right before this whole thing went down at the Photo Booth Expo with us. Very, very intelligent DJ and very talented DJ. And like I said, he's up on a lot of stuff because there's another mixer that's possibly coming out. Well, not possibly, it is. We just don't know when, that he got some inside information on. And when he showed it to me, I was like, well, that makes sense. I questioned it at first, and then he explained it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Ivan pointed out the fact that the difference between the NS7 and the Rane is Rane kind of added their own design. And I seriously think on a smaller platter, I was hoping they were going to be 8-inch, but on the size of the device, it's kind of tough to get much bigger platters than on that without having to make the entire unit bigger. For those who want a comparison size-wise, I could give you the inches. I'll give them to you here in a second. But if you want to talk about size-wise, it's slightly smaller. Wait, let me get that right. Smaller or bigger? Slightly bigger than the Denon MC7000 and slightly smaller than the Pioneer 1000 and 1000 SRT. So that kind of gives you a range of it. But those Platters, they are not like a, because you can understand that the company Rane is owned by the same company that owns Newmark. So they didn't just take the Newmark Platters and slop them over here. They stuck with the general feel and design of the Rane 12 Platters, the big full-size ones, and moved it over to a smaller platter on a single connected unit. So it's definitely got a different feel to it. I'm sure it's a different motor, different everything. So again, that was kind of their person to do that in there. So you're not getting, don't think of it as the NS7, because again, those paddle effects that are on the thing, we'll talk about that. That's a big thing. And for those people who use any of the S9, S11, the Rane 12, any of those, you have the paddle effects, and that's what they're used to. So it's nice to see that on a controller. Still reading things here. I'll thank you, Disco Worm. Thank you, appreciate that. Kyle talks about it being an investment, and that's why I kind of look at stuff. Because I do have stuff for sale. Because I currently have 2 MC7000s, and one of them I think I have a buyer for. So I've got that, and like I said, I've got other things that even if I get like $100 for it or something, that's still going to get me closer to making the purchase price that I need to. So again, it is investment. So no matter what, I can write it off as a business write-off. So that's all part of it. And that's also, again, good to keep up on equipment because it gives me more write-offs. My tax guy yells at me because I don't buy enough stuff. And I'm like, I don't need a lot of stuff. My business is really self-sufficient. So it is probably something that I'll probably make the move on. AC1 Music asked about the 30 ways to transition lesson. There is no such thing as, I got to clarify this because I've had 2 people ask me this, and I've left messages. I don't know if you, AC1, if you were the one that commented on one of the previous things, so I commented back. There is no class on 30 ways to transition a song. That is just integrated in my DJ lessons. So from DJ 101 in my DJ classes is basically what most of you don't need. This is an XLR chord, this is an RCA chord, this is a gain knob, such and such and such. DJ 102 starts with song structure because you have to know where to mix the song. So you learn about different parts of the song structure, counting, so you can count the sections, cue points, and stuff like that. So you learn to start putting it together. You do drop it on the one, which are just cut starts, and you learn multiple ways to do just cut starts. So it's not just, oh, here's a cut start. There's like 5 or 6 different possible cut starts. So the whole idea is when you get through all of my classes, all of those, even though you might use 2 or 3 of them the same time as you're doing a mix, each one I considered a way to transition between 2 songs, and there's about 30 of them. So that means the way I put it all together is that if you know all of these, put them to use, you're not going to be going, here's a song, beat match into this song. Here's a song, beat match into this song. Oh, I'm going to scratch, scratch, drop. Scratch, scratch, drop. Scratch. It's not going to be the same thing. You're going to be creative, and then also being creative that the fact that if you have 2 songs that are difficult to mix, you can use several of those 30 different possible things put together to make a song that's really hard to mix, easy to mix, and make the transition sound smooth. So the 30 different ways is just my way of saying by the end of time you're done with my class, you will know you can put any 2 songs together. I love it when DJs tell me, oh, that song's unmixable, or I can't do this. Genres, whatever, everything is mixable. It may not be exactly what you think mixable is as in beat match, beat match, beat match, beat in, but every song I can put a transition to where the audience is not going to look at me like I'm from outer space. It's not going to stop them from dancing where they're going to stop dancing for a second and then start dancing again. So that's the goal of all that. Just let you know that that's what it is. But if you want classes, hit me up on any of my social media. Send me a direct message, and I'll get back to you and tell you about the DJ classes and all that kind of stuff. And yes, for those who did ask, I am still working on the group class. For those of you who know, I've been writing a book, and the first draft was just finished this week and went out to editors. So my life has kind of been consumed that. I started a few weeks after the lockdown, and like I said, I don't know how long it's going to take between the editing and stuff before it comes out, but it'll definitely be out this year, and that will be a whole new side to my life that I'm going to go somewhere with, and I don't know what yet. So that's what I've been focusing on, so that's why I haven't done the group classes. Ivan talks about the platter being, the platter is bigger because it got a lip of the turntable dots on the side. Yeah. Yeah, so you have to have the grip for the different things you're doing on the side for catching that. And just a little note, if you look at the Denon motorized platters and look at that one has the more traditional, if those of you know how that works, with the light that on a real turntable with the light on there, you can see one of the dots moving past the other. It gives a fake motion because of the strobe that's in that light that's pointing at the side. And you can tell just by looking at those how far you have the speed sped up or slowed down. So those on a real turntable are actually functional. They're not just for looks. But if you go look at the Denons, they have this weird shape on theirs that isn't functional other than grip. And theirs is patented by them. So it's just a little interesting piece of information there. But the dots actually on an actual turntable actually serve a purpose for information. On this thing, there's no light on them, so you don't see them strobe. You can't really tell. Maybe they have a light. Maybe you can buy an LED add-on that works that way. I have no idea, but it's possible. So, but yeah, it's nice to see the bigger platters, that's for sure. DJ Disco Worm says, bye till you die. John, what's going on? Hello. DJ Jess says, the platter is similar or same as the 1200 Techniques. I would say that it is more similar or same to the Rane 12s. That's what I would say. Let me open up some pictures here. Keep asking your questions, whether it be about purchasing or not purchasing, that sort of thing, as I do some sharing here. So let me move this. Oh, gosh, I'm going to have to figure out how to see the chat and everything now. All right, so we'll look at some pictures now. Like I said, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat as we're going through here showing you the pictures. Like I said, I have the actual user's manual. We can look at that, answer questions. You can see all the stuff that was sent to me in the press kit. And I want to go left screen, and here we go. So this is the whole family of Rane stuff right now. And keep in mind that the Rane 12 it has had a second version of it. So over here is the Rane 12 MK2. I'm sorry. Rane 12, the 72. Wow, I can't even talk. 72 MK2. So they did do a second version of that, and that was there. You have the next to it, you have the Rane 12 mixer. Then you have the Rane 1, and you have the Rane 70 over here, which is like a step down a little bit from the 72. It's still an awesome thing, but it's that. And the back one is the, I can't even remember what that one is. Is it, Ivan, tell me, is it something 10, right? I'm sure it's something 10. I can't remember what it's called. Somebody asked me about the weight compared to a Prime 4. Give me 10 seconds. I'll look up the weight of the Prime 4. Weight of the Denon Prime 4 is 21.3, and this one is 22. So it's just about a pound heavier than the Prime 4. Nothing too major there. But let's start with this one. This is the family there. So the next picture is the actual thing from the side, so you can kind of get a good look at it there if you didn't in some of the other ones. I'm looking the opposite way of the thing, so I should have me over in the other corner. So hold on here. We'll put me over here, or does that make a difference? Yeah, so now I'm looking at it like you guys are. Okay. So like I said, it's pretty simple. There's in the center, you can see those paddle effects, and they pull down. If you don't know how they work, the buttons above it that say FX1, 2, 3, etc., you turn on an effect. Let's say it's an echo. And the paddle in the center on the left channel, if you want to trigger the echo, you pull the paddle down for instant. So as soon as you let go of that paddle, it goes back to center point and is off. Or if you push it up, it locks up there until you pull it down, kind of like a light switch is the best way I can explain it. But that's those effects, so you can trigger stuff in and out. One of the cool things I thought was added to this one, and let me go to the next picture and show that if I can. Yeah. So is that most controllers right now have 5 bank choices of buttons above the hotkey buttons, the pads, the performance pads. This one has 5. So again, for those of you who know, I'm a big virtual DJ person, and the fact that I customize so much stuff, I have stuff stacked on mine. So on mine, when I hit the hotkey button, it's the hotkeys. I hit it a second time, it's their new scratch bank. So this one now has different things set in there, so that now I not only have 8 possible choices with those buttons. I now have 10 since there's 5 of them, and I can have a dedicated button for the scratch bank and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. And they are the Akai pads, because Akai is also owned by the same company that owns Denon and owns all of them. So those are in there. Again, the 70. What's the one in behind there, Ivan? The The wooden one. It's something 10, isn't it? That's what I wanted to know what that one was. But the platters, like I said, I haven't touched one yet, but they are the same acrylic that is with the Rane 12s. So if you've touched them, which I love them, and what I'm hoping on those is I'm hoping that they have the smoothness of the Rane 12 motor, because that Rane 12 motor is so smooth. I love that thing. So if these have that same smoothness, I'm just going to be squealing like a little schoolgirl. But it does have all the different things that you want. You're talking about there, the sync buttons, the cues, the shifts. The shifts, doubles up stuff like that. The dedicated loop section. You have the parameter section. You have the pitch bend section. You have a reverse knob and motor off, and the slip. For doing slip effects and stuff like that. MP 2015. Oh, that's the rotary mixer. Thank you. I was thinking that it was something to do with 10, but I'm thinking of that other Pioneer S10 or whatever it is that they have. That's what I was thinking. But this is the MP 2015 rotary mixer, that one that I showed you at the beginning that's in the back. One thing that was pointed out to me that I thought was a little interesting is because it is set off to where this is here with the pitch to the right, this is here with the pitch to the right, which is, in my opinion, is the way it should be. But many of them prior to that would put the pitch to the outside of each platter. And even though that kind of does set it to be something more balanced, for those of us who have been doing this for years, it kind of having this right there over here, and we're scratching on the left side of the disc, we always bang our finger into it. So having it this way, it's out of the way. But doing it on a regular controller and centering things, so this is identical to this side, it now puts your high-low pass filter very close to that side. So it possibly can be an issue, you bumping your hand on that, because it is very close. If you're scratching right-handed and doing that, or even just nudging the side up or down, and that may be an issue. That was one of the only things that kind of jumped out at me that I went, I don't know. But again, I'm happy to have the pitch to the right of each one again. I literally have been doing this so long that the controller that I have now, like I said, has it over here on the left. And when I do very finite adjustments between the pitch fader and nudging, I literally have to cross my hands because I can't nudge properly with the pitch being on this side. I have to nudge with my left, move with my right, like I would be doing on this side. But with the pitch on the other side, that screws me over so bad. We'll look at a couple other things here. They have a thing there. You tap it once up here in the corner. That loads a track. This is in Serato, so I'm guessing it's probably going to be the same in virtual. I'm not sure. But if you double tap, that's your now instant doubles button up in the top corner there. So you hit once, it loads a track to the deck you're doing on. One for that deck, one for this deck. And if you double tap it, it gives you instant doubles what is on the other deck matched in play time and everything. So if you have a track that you want to be on the left deck that you want to be on the right, so you can go and scratch on the left, you can just double tap that. It's over there. Shut this one off, load your track, whatever, and go along with that. Also, I forgot to mention, in the center section with the effects, you have the depth and beat adjustments, so that if you have like a stutter or something, you can take that knob and twist it and make the adjustments live on that. And that's one of the things that I think is nice, that you're able to do that. You have deck A, deck B with two USB ins, so you can either switch with another DJ, or if you are doing some kind of gig where you want a backup, you can always have a backup controller with you at all times, backup computer with you at all times, plugged in and ready to go. The line in is for direct line ins, and that means literally anything plugged in there that's putting audio in via RCAs will come out, and I'll show you where that's plugged into here in a bit. The stop time over here by the thing, I know I'm kind of jumping around. It's kind of neat because for those of us who do certain types of brake stops and stuff, it gives you a good brake stop, which I really like that. My 7000 was the first controller I had that, and I really, really like that. I use it a lot. Again, in the chat, shout out any kind of questions that you want there. Somebody was talking about being battle style. That would be nice too. Randy said if they would put, for battle style, for those of you who don't know, if a turntable is setting this way, you will have the pitch fader right here normally on a normal setup turntable. But battle style, what they do is, because the arm would be going here, to get the arm out of the way so you don't bump it as much, they turn it one click to the left, so where that would put this fader up here, and if there was a record player arm right there, it would now be up here and get it out of the way. So a lot of guys are used to playing with their stuff set up in battle style, so having it locked here instead of possibly putting it up here will throw some people off. So that it would be neat to have that option, but it's still nice to have it. I'm looking at some questions here in the chat real quick. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of different reasons to do the instant doubles or cloning. It all depends on what you're doing. Some people do it for scratch. Some people do it out of comfort. Whatever. If they're switching people, and the next guy wants to start on the left. There's a lot of reasons for the instant doubles. But it's nice to have a dedicated button. Because on right now, currently, I can program one for the 7000 onto my deck, but I just didn't. I just used the Q button here. Ivan talks about setting the motor to stop speed. Yeah. So, like I said, it's nice like that. My 7000 has one, and I really like that because, like I said, I use it for different effects, wind down effects and stuff like that. Let's go on to the next picture here. This is the back. This is a good thing to look at. So, on the mics, you get 2 mics, and they are combo mics, so quarter or XLR, whichever you want. There is the auxiliary in. We're going to talk about the auxiliary in when we get to the front. All right, so you have your 2 mics, your auxiliary in, and then you have deck 1 and 2 with a phono and line switch. So that means that if you want to set this up as a mixer to where like you had this in the center and 2 turntables or 2 CDJs or 2 media players hooked up using the center as a mixer, you could run 4 at the same time on this. You would just have to flip the switches on the front that I'd mentioned before up there to go from line A, line B, or in the center line for the external ones. So you have that. That's what that's for. And then your main out gives you a choice of balanced XLRs or RCAs, and then booth out. Now, here's the weird thing. This is the honest truth. And Ivan, I want your opinion on this too. For me, every booth I've ever went to, it has the booth out as a 1/4 inch that I plug into my mixer. This one and my Denon both have XLRs for the booth out. And I'm wondering if I'm the only person who's used to having the 1/4 inch to where, like I said, if I go places, I always have to have an adapter on my 7000 to go from this to receive a 1/4 inch because most of them are that way. So, but that's interesting, but at least you at least know that you have a good sound coming out of that with a good solid ground on that. Next to it is your 2 USBs, A and B, so you just flip the switch on the front that I showed you. The motor torque, for those of you who like maybe heavy torque or light torque, I believe I'm a light torque person. But that could change again when I touch my hands on them. But other ones, I'm a heavy-handed mixer, so that's the best way I can say that there. So you have a choice of having high or low torque on the turntables themselves, and then you have your removable power cord, which that's kind of nice. Instead of having something that has a little tiny plug. This is those what do they call those? IS whatever plugs. I can never remember the names of stuff. And then you have your power button. Okay. We're looking at the front, and this is where I want to show you about the extra mixer. So on the front, you have mics 1 and 2 adjustments. So you have a volume and high-low on both of them. And on the left side, you see a little on-off switch there for that. But the right side, you have mic completely off or auxiliary. So if you plug something into the back, this is the volume and the tone adjustment, mic 2, for the auxiliary that you plug in the back. So I thought it was a neat, because you can understand you only have so much space. So you kind of have to look at that there. Next to it, the deck contour. It is basically an adjustment for your up and down faders, as we call them. IEC. Yeah, I can never remember the name. I know it's I something, so I always lose that. Thank you, Ivan. So this is just basically you can adjust the curve on your up or down. Guys who do scratch routines and different things, we use the up and down volume for things, and this gives you a chance to put a curve to that like you normally see curves. This is the next knob. Like you see curves in a crossfader. So this gives you a manual curve. So let's say you're scratching and you want it really fast, and later on you're doing a general mix and you want that crossfader to be more smooth. It gives you the option to move it for one thing to another, and you don't have to go into the program to do that. The reverse switch, or as us old people call it, the hamster switch. And all it does is basically, so let's say you're playing something on this right deck. So normally, to get volume on it, you would move that fader to the right. Hamster does it opposite. So there are guys who will be scratching on the left deck. Instead of having the fader open to the left, it's now open to the right. So it's opposite, and that's what that's for guys who are doing scratches. Like I said, it's a reverse. Old guys like me, we always call it the hamster switch. I don't even know why. If somebody can out there tell me where that name came from, but we've always called it a hamster switch. Ivan put out in there that only the crossfader is changeable, so I'll show you that real quick here. So you can see this panel right here, the 4 screws. That's where you take off. The crossfader is replaceable, but it does have an awesome Mag 4 crossfader in there that has an internal attention adjustment that works off a really strong magnet. So it's very buttery if you want it to be, but if you want it to stick, you adjust that magnet. So it's never going to be something that wears out over time because the magnet never actually touches the crossbar that the fader is on. It just gives it a little bit more resistance with that magnet. That's changeable, but the up faders are not changeable. Well, I'm sure they're changeable, but you're going to tear it apart and solder and all that kind of crap. All right, so headphones does have a split Q for people like me. I live off split Q, so I'm glad it has that. Doesn't have a split Q button, but this is at least something. You have your regular Q switch there and your headphone levels, and it does give you a choice of 1/8 inch or 1/4. And if you're not from the U.S., you can convert that into millimeter if you want to. I was not sure of this, I presumed, but Ivan said the feet do come off. Currently sitting with the feet from the bottom to the top is just about 5 inches. So from right here at the very bottom to the tip top of that thing there is about 5 inches. So if you don't want it that high and you put it in a case, pull the feet off and it's a little bit lower and normal. It being just slightly different size than my MC7000, I realized it can fit in my MC7000 hard case. With the feet off, it will fit in my soft case. With the feet on, it won't because it's too much. But with the feet off, it will fit in my soft case. So I may not have to change cases at all, and I think that's really cool. Side view, nothing special. Other side, again, feet, all that kind of stuff. This was one of the art drawings that they sent along with it. I'm not really sure why, but it was. And this is the top view that gives you everything. I guess in case you wanted to kind of like, talk in detail about different things and stuff like that, you can. These were some of the promotional media stuff that they showed, with it plugged in and stuff like that. With the blur on the turntables, which I don't know. It all depends on certain flight cases. I looked at mine, Ivan. It will fit on mine. So because I have a slide open top. The only thing that I think is going to be messed up is because these platters are so far back, and if you have a slide top case, you really have to have that slide top way back to be able to have full access to these things all the way in the back here. So it may become a sort of thing where end up just using a case and a laptop stand or something like that, because a slide top, getting it back far enough to be able to reach all of this, because even look at the gain knob, how close the gain knob is to the top, that is going to be a challenge right there. So keep that in mind. More promotional pictures to kind of give you a general size of it with somebody's hands. Again, this is just all stuff that came in the kit. The press kit, I mean. Nothing major. That's the Mag 4 XF crossfader. There's the dots. Like I said, if you ever go online and look at YouTube and look at a video on how those dots work, they actually, like I said, with the strobe light, you can look. Someone who knows how to read that can look at that and tell exactly how fast their record's going just by looking at these dots right here. So it's kind of neat. Old school. View of the back with everything plugged into it. Still looks pretty clean. Those are some hefty XLR cables right there. That's how you do it. Nice hefty XLR cables. Your effects button area, like I said, that's kind of neat. And I didn't mention this, that you can hit them one at a time, or if you hold down 2 of them, you can stack them. So let's say you had on 4 you had an echo, and on 5 you had a flange. If you held them both down, then you would have an echo flange. So I kind of like that. There's your loop area and your pitch bend buttons. I know for me, I never use the pitch bend buttons on my 7000. I remapped them to be jump beat jump buttons, so I always have access to beat jump buttons. And that's probably what I'll do with these. I'll just remap them so they're beat jump buttons instead of pitch, or stack them to where they're beat jump buttons on top, and then if you hit the shift key, then they become the pitch bend buttons in case I want them. Someone in the chat asked, will it do 4 tables or decks? It will do them, but keep in mind that it's going to be flipped on and off. Let me go back here and get you an overhead view. So to do 4 decks, you're going to have 2 digital decks where it says line A, line B. So you're going to have internal decks A and B, and then when someone wants to take over with the 2 outside ones, you would then have to give up one of the channels by switching that top switch at the top to line, and then that side, that deck, you would have the mixer controlling the volume and stuff of your outside connection, like a turntable, whatever, coming in. All right, so we're moving on here. I hope I'm covering everything. They did have, it's funny that they did have a, what do you call it, Pro FX case in the video. Pardon me, so we'll do that. So there's a view of the knobs in the back with the USB, the torque. And that's the last picture. So I have some other stuff we'll share here. Let me close that out. All right, so this is the press release, kind of talking about it. See, I was embarked. I could not show it until this time. That's why they took, because I cannot release stuff until they give me the stuff to release. But it talks about all the different things on there, gives you a basic spiel of it. This price has now been changed because I did get an update email today. So it's $14.99 US and $14.99 for the pound and the euro. So like I said, this is all the kind of stuff that came with that. The Rane One, this is the product overview that they gave you. It just kind of gives you information talking about it. Like I said, this is all stuff that's out there already, so it's not doing anything. So if you're a tech guy and you want to look at some of the specs, I'll let you look at some of the specs here and see what they are for the microphone and stuff like that. Someone asked, where does the light for the Platter side come from? On a turntable, there's a little pop-up light that does that. On this one, it doesn't. Ivan said he sent me a picture of it in a case. I'll take a look at that here in a second. But like I said, if you want to look at some of the specs, here's your specs for those of you who are spec people. Your XLR booth outs. Again, to an average guy like me, I'm not real worried about this because everything to me is going to be fine as is. It shows your connection. So here's your measurements. 26 and a half inches wide, 13.6 inches deep, and 4.9 inches tall with the feet on it. Okay, so keep in mind. And weight-wise is 23.5 pounds. So again, for what I'm getting, I was happy with that weight. I was praying that it wasn't close to 30 because that's what the NS7 is, over 30. And like I said, it's just stupid heavy once you put it in a case. And I think I'm going to start building cases because I'm so tired of these heavy cases that I don't need. And this is the user guide it came with. So it comes in different languages, and I'm scrolling. It talks about the different things, that all this stuff. Let me zoom out a little bit here. So you're not, there you go. So you can kind of see how it sets up because it does come with the platters not in it because rattling around that could damage something, in the shipping process of it. Just like a turntable, you need to lock down a turntable if you send it long ways. But it just basically just giving all your info on the different things and how it works. Like I said, it was nice to have all this information. I kind of wanted to look at some stuff and see how it's done there. The pitch play, the semitones, it tells you how to do all that. And all of this is now, keep in mind, all this is software because a lot of stuff with Pioneer, not a lot, but some of the stuff with Pioneer, when you go with the effects, they are triggered, they are hardware effects, not software. This is all software. So all your effects are software driven inside your software, whether it be Serato, which it works with Serato right now. It does come with a individually licensed Serato, so that means Serato is licensed to, if you don't have Serato, you get it with this, but it is licensed to this device and this device alone. So if you wanted to use that Serato that's licensed to this on another controller, you cannot. You would have to buy the full Serato, or if you already have it, it works perfectly. And it does not come with DVS, so if you wanted to hook up DVS, you would have to pay extra for the DVS plugin. But this is it. Like I said, that's all, pretty much all the information I had. Here's the videos on them, which you guys have seen all of these videos. One was a video on basically it being used with the different things. I can play it because it's not Yeah, here's where he's talking about stacking them, and that's your on and off. It locks up or locks down. So yeah, that's lock. You guys saw these videos, so I'm not even going to go through it. You guys saw all these videos. So we're going to stop that there. Go back to here. So yeah, so keep throwing your questions at me. We've got lots of people watching tonight. I appreciate that. Also appreciate you sticking with me on the move of time from 10 p.m. to 9 p.m. This kind of works for me. I'm going to go grab the thing Ivan sent me here. Appreciate him a lot. I got to hang out with him in Vegas this year, and it was nice. He's a really cool guy. Him and his lady. We got to hang out. Really cool, laid back people. So if I can get this to open. Da 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 da. So there we go. So this is the Pro X case, and I'm going to share this too. All right. So this is the Pro X case, and if I'm correct, this is the exact case I have for my 7000. If I'm correct. So again, with my case, like I said, it gives you room to sink it in and lift it up. But look how far that has to be pushed back to reach all of these. So you don't have a lot setting on there, and it also takes up a lot of room. So like I said, I may be switching in the future to a one that doesn't have a slide top and just carry around which, I mean, I have 2 or 3 laptop stands. But at least gives you an option. But like I said, it's neat. It's going to be something new for our industry. I think you're going to see a lot of people jumping on that. Because it's so cool. I think it's cool. I mean, I don't know. Mike asked me, am I selling my MX8000? I do not have an MX8000. I have an MC7000. And I am selling one of them. I believe I already have a buyer. I also have a case for an S11 that I got, not a flight case, but another case that I got. That's going to be up for sale. I have a couple of MIDI things that I won that are going to go up for sale. I'm also going to sell my Denon 6000 because I'm going to keep one of the 7000s as a backup because I always want a backup controller. So I'm going to keep one of the 7000s as a backup controller, sell one of the 7000s, sell the 6000 because my 6000 was my backup controller. It's going to go. So I'm hoping that I get at least a little bit out of each of those that go towards the new one, and that's kind of the goal. Because I'm kind of excited about getting back to motorized platters. Like I said, I had the NS7, loved it, but it was just brutal to carry around. This, I think, if I especially hunt for a lighter case or drop the slide top, that's going to take some weight off, and I think it'll be worth it. Yeah, Paul's talks about even on a 7000, like reaching the mic controls, they're all the way at the back on the 7000. So when you slide that top open, it's really tough. That and the scroll to scroll, to load tracks is all the way in the back on the 7000. So a slide top is not, at least the way they're currently designed, is not super comfortable for the average DJ. It just gets in the way, for especially if you're mixing and you're doing stuff, it gets in the way. So man, we had a great group of people hanging out. You guys had great questions. Again, the show's title was Should I Buy New DJ Equipment? So I kind of want to hear what you have to say about, in this place that we're all at right now, starting a new year. We don't know when this is all going to, when we're going to get set free, I like to say. Is this the right time to spend money, this amount of money on something that you probably won't be making money on for maybe a couple months, maybe longer? I don't know. So give me your thoughts on that. I appreciate everyone who tuned in on that. Let me know what you think. Everybody, all these awesome comments in there. They're awesome. I hope I answered everyone's question. So if I did not, please repeat it, and I will answer it now. Also want to thank our sponsors. So across the bottom, you see the videos popping up. We got some nice sponsors this year for DJNTV, and I want to thank them all for supporting the shows and all that kind of stuff. If you get a chance to, in the link in the information below, we do have the links to all of them. Go visit them, and if you purchase something, tell them that you saw them here on DJNTV. I am not doing a mix later on tonight because I've had a crazy busy week between this video and my book and everything. So I just decided I might do something Thursday or Friday, but no mix tonight. So there's a lot of other people who have mixes that are on Twitch and stuff. Go check them out tonight. Like I'm telling you, you'll enjoy yourself watching some of these people. You'll learn so much stuff. Even if it's just someone you're watching throws on a song that you're like, man, I should play that song more often, and that kind of thing is really good. Mike talks about buying gear when venues are open. Oh, cool. That's good to know that the audio card is the same as the Rane 72. 70 and 72, which is a extremely, that's one of the things that people complain about, that those mixers like the S9, S11, the Rane 72 is so expensive, because if you buy a $500 controller and you look at that $1,800 mixer, you may think they're comparable, but that audio card is so much better you can't even believe. And I tell people this story. When I had my Denon 6000, which I thought was a very good quality, and played it at a place, and the next week when I got my 7000, came in and plugged my 7000 into the same system, I was blown away by how much better it sounded than the 6000. So that's 4-year-old technology that is, and now we're looking at something new that is a high-end quality to begin with, let alone newer technology. So you will be very satisfied with those sound cards, trust me. It's very good. A lot of new stuff in there. I just expect a lot out of it. Then again, I don't know. But I want to get my hands on it for sure, because like those of you who follow me, when I spun on the Denon Prime 4, I was given a Prime 4 to practice with for like 2 or 3 weeks prior to the expo. Because it was such a different thing, because we couldn't hook up computers to the Prime 4 back then, so I had to do my whole set at the DJ Expo on a thumb drive on that device. So I got one for a couple weeks, and I knew after about 5 minutes of using it that I didn't want it, like to use it on a regular basis. It just didn't fit what I do, at least at that time. So I'm excited about this. I'm hoping that once I get my hands on it, I don't have the same mentality of going, oh, okay, this is not what I want. But I think it's going to be, because like I said, I love my 7000. I love my 7000 a lot. I love the NS7. So maybe this, to me, in my mind, I'm hoping is a mixture of the two, where you have the lighter, but yet you have the platters, which are bigger platters, which I hate tiny platters. I love these. That same with the Pioneer 1000 with the larger platters. Yes, thank you. Because those of us who mix, again, the show's about the mix DJ, we spend all night touching those platters, whether it be scratching a start, pitch bending, whatever, winding backwards. We spend the whole night on those platters. So those platters have to work well, work good, and be very, very functional to what we're doing quickly. And I think this one has it. So, yeah, so any other questions? We're about top of the hour. I'll take any other ones before we go. Questions or comments on purchasing. I will let you know when I get one, if I get one, or get my hands on one. If someone has one in the local area, you know I'm going to come to your house with pizza and stuff to let me hook up and play with it. So just expect that. Any of my friends from the Pittsburgh area who are watching this and you get one, I'm coming over. So let me know what you want me to bring. You know, Chinese food, pizza, Italian, whatever. Twinkies, whatever you want. I don't even care. Doesn't matter. I'll bring it. So I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's something I've kind of hoped for. Like I said, the only thing that to me is in my mind is missing is the split cue button as opposed to the switch. I like the button. It has a switch, so at least I have that. So there you go. Any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to cut it here. We're close to top of the hour. This has been a fun show. I got to talk about some stuff. Always throw ideas at me if you have an idea about a show coming up, whether it be a show where I show you mixing stuff, you know, because some of the time, if it's first time joining us, some of the time I have the deck set up and we actually show mixing stuff. I have an overhead camera, all that kind of stuff. But this one, because I wanted to share this, I'm on the studio setup with my dual screens, so I'm able to share and do all that. It's a little bit easier over here on the studio computer. Thank you, Ivan, for throwing all that information my way and the picture. Appreciate that. I'm sure we'll be talking more as these things come out. Also, let me know, Ivan, if you've pre-ordered. I'm kind of curious if you've grabbed that. Ivan's a turntable guy, so he almost 100% of the time uses turntables, DVS system. So this to him probably, I'm guessing, would be a backup system or a system that he would use on smaller gigs, which I have another friend of mine who's 100% vinyl guy. Well, he likes the Rane 12s, and he has the S11 mixer. So he's the S11 mixer and 2 Ranes. He loves it, but he's considering. I've had him on my show before, DJ Cadillac. He's considering this for that exact same thing, smaller gigs or backup that still gives him his turning platters to work with, and I think that's really cool that it gives you that option. I'm personally excited about it, but I just got to decide whether financially I'm going to pull the trigger, or if somebody from the In Music who watches, I know I have some people, the In Music people that watch the show and pay attention to my posts and whatnot. If you want to send one my way, we can talk, so let's talk. But with that said, I think I want to go on. Again, thank everybody for tuning in tonight. You guys are freaking awesome. Great questions on Facebook, everything. Is there a dedicated FX volume? There is not, is there? Well, most effects aren't volumized because I know mine aren't. So they're different. I'm sure you can set something up in there, but they're not. Most of them aren't. I know in virtual, again, back to virtual, you can adjust the gain on each of your effects. It literally in there lets you, so if you have an effect that you think is always loud, you can go in on that individual thing and adjust the gain on it. I don't know how Serato works, but there's a depth and a length knob to it, so you have to look into that on that. So anyways, with that, thank you all, everybody. Appreciate it for tuning in, hanging out, all that kind of stuff. As always, I say at the end of the show, it's a crazy world. We have to look out for each other. As things continue next week, I hear DJ's already talking about nationwide shutdown. None of this will happen if we all learn to be there for each other. I do not believe any government, any president will stand up for us, there for themselves. We have to look out for each other. So don't wait for someone else to help. If you see a need, someone close to you, help. That's all life takes. It doesn't take you to go off the deep end or travel to another area of the world. Just help the person next to you today, tomorrow. Even if it's just giving them a smile and waving hi. Every little bit helps. So until that.